bringing you a Photoshop tutorial today. I'm going to be covering the basics of Photoshop. Now, as you can see, I already have my template up, so um, I'm just going to quick run through how to get that going. Sorry about that. So you want to make sure Adobe Photoshop CS6 is active, or whatever version you have, and you're going to go up to File and do New, and it'll bring up your project template. Now here you can name your project whatever you want. So we're going to just call it, I already have mine named, but you can name it basic project or fun something. And then you can make your width whatever size you want. I just have 8 inches. You can change that to pixels, centimeters, millimeters, whatever. You can also, I have a height of 11, so this is going to be like a standard sheet of paper that you can print off of any standard printer. The resolution I have at 480, which is a pretty decent amount. It'd be almost like a HD texture, but not quite. So that's the the main gist of that is just pixels per inch. Um, Not much else to that. Next is background contents. If you want your background to be white, you just choose white. If you want it to be transparent, you just click this so that it'll have no background color whatsoever. And if you want to choose your own background color, you can just click that and go and yeah. So we're just gonna leave that at white. And I don't know why I clicked it because I already have a different project up, but I have this smile. It's a picture I'm gonna. Sorry about that. It's the picture I'm going to be using um, to demonstrate everything today. So first of all, we have the layers panel. You want to make sure you do not have your background panel active unless you're going to be specifically editing that panel. You want to make sure you have your layer 1 active, which is the smile, and not hidden. See how it did that? I just clicked that little eye right there, and it makes it invisible or visible. Okay, so next we're going to use our move tool. Just this little tool at the top. Now what that does is moves the smile all over according to how you move your mouse. So you can have your smile face over here, you can have them up here, 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 whatever you want. Next, we're going to be going over the marquee tool. The marquee tool, you have a rectangular marquee, an elliptical marquee, single row marquee, and a single column. For today, we're just going to be going over the rectangular and the elliptical marquee. These are probably all you're going to be really needing if you're not planning on doing any advanced or sophisticated projects, though you probably will be eventually. So to start off with, we have the rectangular, which gives you a rectangular marquee instead of a circular. And all you do is left click, drag the area you want, and then let go, and it'll select that area for you. Now to deselect that, you're going to want to press Command D if you're on a Mac, or Control D if you're on a PC. Next is the elliptical marquee, which is a circle. Now this circle marquee is better off for a smile since that's actually round. But if you're just simply going to delete something, you select the area that has the image in it, and you press delete, and oh, it's gone. So we're going to put that back and back to normal. And as you can see, not selected. Woo! Lasso tool. We're this is something you can draw random selections with. So if I want to select the smile, I can just quick draw the little area where the smile is and get the general area needed, and you can delete that little smile area. Next off, we have the quick selection tool and the magic wand tool. The quick selection tool is used to select an area of color, of a certain color. So if I want to get rid of this black, I can just select it, and delete. And this is not purely used for deleting. You can also use it for putting in paint. So if I wanted this eye to be white, I could paint it over white. Next is the magic wand tool. Now the magic wand tool will select an area, a complete area of one color, really quick without you having to drag it anything, especially if you have a big image. So let's say I want this black, but you don't want that black. It won't add it to it. You'll just have one area, or like this. Whereas the quick selection, it'll select the whole area, whereas the quick selection tool will select one little chunk of this black line. Next is the crop tool. Now the crop tool is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into too much detail with it, but all you really have to do is click, drag, let go, and then hit the check mark, and that's what you have left. Now, I don't want this cropped at all, so I'm not going to do anything with it. So yeah. Next, before we get into the eyedropper tool, I want to explain these little squares down here. Now, these little squares are actually your color, so you can choose a certain color and use with your paintbrush and text. But to get into it, you're gonna go over to these little squares, and you're gonna click them, left click them, and that'll open it up. And then you can take this and drag it to whatever color area you want. So it can be blue, red, green, yellow, orange, red, whatever. Now the purpose of the eyedropper tool is if you have a color that you already have and you want to use that color, you can just select the area of that color and it'll make it that color. And now I'm not going to go into any of these tools for now, because they are just not needed at the moment. And in case I forgot to mention it, which I probably did, to get into this other list, you're going to need to right click the actual icon so that you can get these other options. Otherwise, you're not going to be getting it by simply left clicking. So we're going to use the patch tool next. Usually this would be the spot healing brush tool, but the patch tool I prefer much more than the other two. Now, it's much like the lasso tool where you select a certain area and it'll select that area and keep that area quarantined from the rest almost. Now, when you have your area selected that you want, you just click inside of the selection and you move it over to an area you want it more like. And then you gotta wait for it to get done, and that's what you get. Now it's not always going to be that dirty. That's just a quick example of how to do it. It'll usually disappear and be about the same color as before. So let me just get rid of that. And what you just saw was I was doing a step backward, or the undo, and that's highly useful if you accidentally make a mistake, or you did something that you come to find out wasn't needed later on. Next is the brush tool. For now, I'm going to go back and switch this back to white, and then I'm going to hit this little arrow right here. Now what that does is switches which is the primary and which is the secondary, or the foreground and the background. Now, instead of drawing with white, I'm drawing with black now. Now, another thing is, you might see how that was really fuzzy. That's because of the hardness. I have the hardness at 0, which means it's going to be really soft. But if I had it at 100%, it's going to be really hard, and there's going to be no leeway to it at all. Also, another thing you can do is size. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, medium, something or other, whatever. And down here, if you scroll down, you can get different textured brushes, and you can even download some from the internet, which have certain textures. Now we're not going to get into the clone stamp tool, which is right here, or the history art slash art history brush tool, but we will get into the eraser tool. Now the eraser tool is much like the brush tool in the fact that it's used for like painting almost, but it's like the name implies, it's an eraser. It gets rid of stuff. Say I want to get rid of that little smile. I'm going to make this huge brush and just erase it all and put the hardness at crap. There we go. Shouldn't do it that big. I'm going to put the hardness at 100%. Good to get rid of that. And now we're back to normal. So, paint bucket tool and gradient tool are our next tools. The gradient tool is used, hold on a second, first we're going to select the background so we don't get this all muddied up. The gradient tool is used to get this nice effect, such as this radial, which is a circle. You also have the getting the black to white, like a straight line. It'll just slowly go from black to white. Now, next thing, we're going to skip the blur, sharpen, and smudge, along with the dodge, burn, and sponge, and the pen tools. We will be getting into the pen tool, and the text tool, not the pen. Sorry about that. Now the text tool, all you have to really do is select it, and if you want to go horizontally across the screen, you just click and type up what you want. Now, 12 point's a little small for me, so I'm going to go up here and hit this little drop arrow and click 48 point and say so yeah, you can do that. You can also change the font by going into here and selecting a new one. And so say I want something kind of like cool and techno. Let's say I want this OCR. Well, it's not really techno, it's more of a typewriter kind of thing. But yeah. And that's pretty much it for the text tool. But if you want to go vertical, let's say I want to say hi vertically. I'm going to go up here, put it 48, and say hi. And then to cancel it or to select it, you press either the cancel or the check. The next tool is going to be, oh, it looks like we ran out of tools. So I guess we'll be done for tools now and go into some adjustments. Say you want a different kind of effect between layers. You can do multiply, darker color, or linear burn, but yeah, that's not doing much of anything right now except making it disappear. So that's more for other stuff, which I will be getting into later lessons. The main thing I guess I want to go over on this side is opacity and fill. Now opacity means you'll simply fade the image from 100% slowly down to invisible. Fill is also going to do pretty much the same thing. I think that pretty much wraps it all for today. So make sure to leave a like button and leave a like and hit that subscribe button down below. And I'll see you all in the later lesson.